Today we're going to tackle a really heavy but important subject, psychological torture. We're going to break down what it is, talk about the invisible scars it leaves, and most importantly, explore how we can build resilience when facing it. So, let's dive right in.
So, let's start with a real-world story. This just happened along the Thai-Cambodian border. Apparently, armed groups were using ghost sounds and really unsettling images to try and scare residents into leaving their homes. I mean, think about that. It's a tactic designed to create pure fear without ever laying a hand on anyone.
And that brings us to the big question, right? Does using fear as a weapon, does that actually count as torture? To really get to the bottom of that, we've got to look at how it's officially defined on an international level.
Right. So let's zoom out from that specific story for a second and look at the bigger picture. We need to understand the official definition because, honestly, it's what sets the global standard for human rights.
Okay, check this out. This is the official definition from the 1984 UN Convention Against Torture. And I want you to really notice the wording here. Severe pain or suffering, whether physical or mental. That's so crucial. The law makes absolutely no distinction between the severity of a broken bone and a broken spirit.
So to break it down, for an act to be considered torture, it has to hit these 3 points. First, it's got to be intentional. It's not an accident. Second, it has to cause severe suffering. And remember, that can be physical or mental. And third, it's done for a reason, right? Like to intimidate someone, or punish them, or force them into something. When you lay it out like that, that incident with the ghost sounds, well, it starts to fit the description perfectly, doesn't it? And you know, the global community is crystal clear on this. Torture in any form is banned. There are no exceptions. Not during a war, not during an emergency, never. It's considered one of the most fundamental violations of a person's human rights. Period.
So if the wounds aren't physical, what kind of damage are we actually talking about here? Well, the impact is it's profound. It leaves these devastating long-term scars that can even ripple down through generations.
This chart really lays it out. Physical wounds, they can heal over time. But these internal scars, they're something else entirely. We're talking about more than just PTSD or depression. It can change the whole fabric of someone's life, their health, their relationships, even leading to trauma that gets passed down to their kids. These invisible wounds are deep and they need serious attention.
Hearing about all this, it can feel pretty heavy. But that's exactly why it's so important to have some tools to cope. There are real, practical things anyone can do to guard their mental health in a crisis. So let's walk through 5 of these methods, which come recommended by the World Health Organization.
All right, step 1. When everything feels like it's spinning out of control, when you're overwhelmed with fear, the first thing to do is find your footing. This is all about grounding yourself.
This is a technique to pull you back into the present moment. It's super simple. Just take a slow, deep breath. Feel your feet flat on the floor. And then just notice one thing you can see, one thing you can hear, and one thing you can touch. It's a small act, but it can anchor you right here, right now, and stop that spiral of fear.
Okay, so once you feel a little more anchored, step 2 is about gently getting a handle on those racing thoughts. The idea is to learn how to bring your mind back.
So when your brain is just filled with worry, you can actually try telling yourself, mentally, to stop. Then just acknowledge the feeling without judging it. Something simple like, I notice I'm feeling worried. Just naming it gives you a little distance, and it lets you gently shift your focus back to whatever you're doing in that moment.
Step 3 is all about reclaiming a sense of purpose when it feels like you have no control. It's called act on your values. In the middle of chaos, it's so easy to feel powerless, but small, meaningful actions, they can make a world of difference. It doesn't have to be some grand gesture. Just checking in on a neighbor or comforting a child, those are huge acts of kindness. You might not be able to control the big event, but you can always choose how you respond.
Now, our 4th technique is so important, but honestly, it can be the hardest one to do. It's the simple, powerful act of being kind to yourself.
That voice inside your head really matters, especially during a crisis. So the key here is to talk to yourself like you would talk to a good friend. Remind yourself, you are so strong for getting this far. That kind of supportive self-talk is how you build resilience from the inside out. And the 5th and final step is about changing your relationship with those tough emotions. It's about learning to simply notice your feelings. Yeah, instead of trying to fight off difficult feelings, just observe them. The source material had this really beautiful way of putting it. Imagine them as clouds passing in the sky.
You don't have to grab onto them, you can just let them be there and drift on by. Just acknowledging them, letting them exist, that's a huge part of the healing process.
You know, using these steps isn't some magic fix that works overnight. It's really the start of a journey that takes patience, a whole lot of support, and a real commitment to taking care of yourself. I just love this quote. It's a great reminder that recovery isn't a competition. Every tiny step forward, no matter how slow it feels, is progress. It's all about moving toward a future where the past doesn't get to define your present anymore.
And on that journey, it's absolutely essential to remember this. Asking for help, going to a counselor or a psychologist, that is not a sign of weakness. It's an act of incredible strength. It's a responsible, powerful act of self-care. Professionals have the tools to help in ways that even our best friends and family can't.
So, we'll end on this question. Healing so often happens within a community. Just understanding what psychological torture is, and knowing that there are paths to healing, that knowledge is powerful. So think about it. Who in your life might really need to hear this message of hope today? Thanks for joining me.